Hello, Joanne. How are you?
Hi, Lilu. I'm very well. How are you?
Good, good. Joanne is the author of Life Transformation Diet, an inspirational guide for changing behaviors, releasing weight, and living a better life. And that's what we're
Yay.
talking about here, living a better life, isn't it?
Mm.
Um, I
Oh,
have a
yes.
question regarding do you have some recommendation to get started, some practical recommendation, weight loss plan? I know you have it detailed in here, but could you give us a glimpse of it?
Yes. Yes. Well, obviously, I write extensively about that in my book. But, I would say the most important thing to consider is beginning to eliminate, having less and less and less of the processed foods.
Okay.
Things that contain, white flour, sugar, all the high glycemic foods. I think it's wonderful if we can eradicate these foods from the diet.
And
I
to
used
do
to be
that, we need to look at the labels, don't we?
Oh, yes, we do. But actually, Lilu, I can honestly tell you that I've transformed my own dietary structure over a period of years, mind you. I certainly didn't do it overnight, over a period of years. But, I used to always be eating processed foods, ready made meals, things that came in packets and boxes and that kind of thing. And I have to tell you that today, I'm eating almost a 100% natural diet. So I'm a great believer in eating natural foods and just preparing your own meals and
Mm.
cooking from scratch.
Otherwise, they add some additives and all kind of things that we don't even know of.
Additives and sugars and processed wheat flour. Yeah, you get a lot of that in ready-made
How
meals.
much weight did you lose? Tell me again.
Well, I actually took off over 60 pounds, about 63 pounds. And, I'm only very short. I'm only 5'1". So for me, that was actually quite a lot. Um, but more than the weight itself, it's actually that now I have a great deal of energy, and oh, that is so good. And I find myself, for the most part, I'm really in a very good mood. Whereas it used to be that my energy was always very low, and I would feel really, yeah, I actually felt quite depressed a lot of
Yeah.
the time. Some of that was emotional, but some of it was just that I wasn't eating healthy foods. So
And
I wasn't giving my body the nutrients that it needed to, make the serotonin and all of these feel good hormones.
mm,
So I'm a great believer in eating wholesome, natural foods. And I think it's also worth considering sometimes when we want to take off weight and we think, well, okay, I'll cut back on my calorie intake, but I'm still going to allow myself maybe some wine or maybe some chocolate or that kind of thing. But
yeah.
Lila, for some of us, those are the things that are triggers and they are trigger foods. And once we have some, we just want more and more and more. I used to really be a chocoholic and I used to eat so much chocolate. People hardly believe me, but it's true when I say that most days I was having anything between 10, 12, 15 chocolate
I
bars
read
in a
that.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I haven't touched chocolate now for over 7 years. I gave it up on my 40th birthday, and
Wow.
I'm over 47 now, and I haven't eaten chocolate in over 7 years. And people say, "Oh, that must be so hard." No, it's actually really easy.
Really?
I think it's
What's the power behind that? How can you make such a decision?
I made a decision. I decided I was going to give up chocolate just for 1 year, just for a discipline. And actually, at the end of the year, you know what? I just wasn't fancying chocolate anymore. And I thought, well, isn't it silly just to have some just because the year's up? Why don't I just wait until I really feel like it and then I'll have some? And well, here we go. I'm
But
still
but
waiting for
why
that.
why did you just say, you know what, I'm gonna give up chocolate? Why was that? What made that? What was that tipping
Oh,
point?
well, earlier in my life, I think I would have been in my early 30s. I started to um, basically learn a lot about discipline, and I embarked upon some exercises of discipline training to really strengthen my spiritual muscles and really strengthen my mind and develop my own self-respect and just my general self-worth. And so I discovered the power of discipline. It really is a wonderful, wonderful thing. For the years preceding my early 30s, I always thought that, you know what, discipline, I don't like the sound of that. That sounds like hard work, and I don't want to be tied down. But actually, I began to discover that discipline is not going to tie me down. Actually, it is going to set me free.
But you,
So,
but you, but you already had that in you. You had that discipline, yet for many, many years you were not disciplined. So I'm trying to really see what happened. What was that you went from all of a sudden wanting, having that discipline and that willpower? Where did that came from?
Well, it started very, very slowly. As I say, back in my early 30s, I became interested in martial arts, and I also attended many of the peaceful warrior trainings with Dan Millman,
Uh,
and really embraced the peaceful warrior philosophy. And so at that particular time, Dan introduced me to certain exercises, just in discipline, very gentle to begin with. And I just embraced this concept because I had always been a great lover of martial arts and was very interested in the spiritual philosophy behind martial arts. And so that was something that I really embraced at that time, but in a very, very gentle way. And then over the years, I integrated that discipline into my Slimming Together program and, of course, into my practice and in my way of life.